the thing that got me through is that I just made a decision when I was like 11, and I just was like,
I'm still holding on.
You know?
Yeah.
Really, not like I'll go and do music or I'll go and do that. Or it was really like, no way, nothing else. And then you can get there.
So let's kick off. Thank you so much for doing this. We're really excited to have you here as one of our first new associate artists doing Choreographer Conversations. It's really exciting.
Woo.
So I want to kick off. I want to take us back to early Oona. Early Oona, born in 1986 in London.
Yep.
So technically, well, no, you are Irish. You would then
A
Irish
bit of
family,
both.
all of that. All
a
of
mongrel.
it. Beautiful.
Dealing with that.
Me too. And you moved, so you grew up in London until you were 10.
Yep.
And then you moved to Belfast.
Yep.
What was early Oona, young Oona like? And what was that transition like between London and Belfast and kind of like your early, childhood time?
Yeah. Young Oona, I guess I was just the same as any 9, 10-year-old running about, watching cartoons and that. I think when we moved to Belfast, it was a little bit of a shock. It felt very different. It felt a little bit like going back in time compared to London. I remember the first day in primary school not understanding what the other kids were saying. It felt like a different language, just the accent being so different and so strong. Yeah. But kids adapt so quickly, and we rolled with it. And I was in the school play, and I got on with it.
What was the play?
It was Oliver.
Oh.
So I was like, I'm going to be Oliver. I'm the only Londoner in the school.
Were you Oliver?
No.
Okay.
That put me in my place.
You were just in like the orphanage.
I was just in the orphanage, being like, she's not even from London. Raging.
Yeah. Okay, great. So straight into the shows, growing up in Belfast. What was your journey into dance like? Can you remember kind of what that route felt like and was for you?
So I'd never done like a dance class. I did Irish dancing while I lived in London, close to Muswell Hill. And I did a competition. I did my first face there, probably when I was 7 or something, and I didn't have the Irish dancing frock. They're really expensive. You can pay like £1,000 for a frock.
Yeah, they're serious.
So I think the moment I realised that that was part of the scene, which was when I was at the competition, I won my dance and vowed never to go back until I got a dress. My mum was like, I can't afford a dress. Yeah. So I was a diva. Yeah. And then I danced again whenever we moved to Belfast, and the comprehensive college, the secondary school that I went to, had a dance club after school, and then they did GCSE and A-level dance, so that's then how I started. Yeah. Yeah.
And can you remember a moment where it started to bloom for you? And I guess what I'm trying to get at, was there kind of a specific, and it might not be one specific thing, but like, was there a catalyst? Was there kind of a moment where it definitely started to click and you felt, hang on, I can do this, like professionally, this is what I'm going to do? Like,
yeah.
What was that
for you? I
I
think along the way there's been multiple people.
Yeah.
But the very beginning, I think, I wasn't really good at maths or English or any of that. Yeah. And that was quite clear, even in my primary school in London, or when I went to primary school in Belfast or the secondary school. My brother was quite academic. Yeah. So it was also clear in the house to be like, okay, you're not great at that. And then doing the dancing at St. Louise's in the secondary school was the first time where a teacher would have been able to say to my mum at a parent-teacher meeting, like, no, she's really, really good at it. Mm. So it's the first thing that I was good at. So I think my mum really encouraged me to keep going with it. I think I decided immediately in that first class that that's what I was going to do. Yeah. And I can be quite singular about things. And once I'm into something, I just do that for a while. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I thought it through about a career, making money or anything, but I was already locked in at like 11. And then other people I met along the way just kept going, all right, keep being locked in.
What were your like early influences, like cultural influences? Were there any other artists that you looked up to? Were there any kind of particular types of culture that you were kind of consuming as you were like going on that journey, as you were getting locked in and kind of continuing?
I mean, just all the tastes that you're into, which I don't know if you know are inspirations at the time, especially like when you're a teenager and all, what music you like. And this is so cringe. I was like really into Janis Joplin and Rolling Stones and the Beatles.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was kind of like a dad.
Yeah.
I was like dad music. So I was doing that and listening to that on vinyl and stuff. Big Audio Dynamite and little bits and pieces of music and world music from my mum and dad. But not like the normal S Club 7 or whatever else was going on. I was like really into vintage music or whatever at the time, dad music, which maybe inspired me, I think. Maybe, I didn't know at the time, but maybe the way Mick, I know it's questionable, but the way Mick Jagger swagger's about.
Okay.
I was into that kind of thing. And then later down the line, maybe the Stooges, Iggy Pop, David Cronenberg films, David Lynch films, and then even later down the line, Gaspar Noé, which are all quite very masculine, violent music taste and cinema taste, but that's it still is, I think, my jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like your comfort watch.
I'm just like fascinated by it, and it would excite me.
What do you think what was it, can you pinpoint what like the texture of it that felt exciting for you? Like what was it? Like,
Probably how wild.
Yeah.
How extreme it was, the way Iggy Pop dances, the way Ian Curtis dances. Like felt like it was on the edge of a consciousness. It was a bit beyond.
Yeah.
So it was probably that.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I mean, now I would like Sufis. I'd like watching Sufi dances, which I think are connected, but at the time back then, 16, 17, I wasn't looking at that stuff and wasn't aware that I was trying to look at something that was possibly a different consciousness level in performance or something, maybe.
Yeah. Let's go on to your first piece that you then choreographed. So Hope Hunt and the Ascension to Lazarus, which I've got a really vivid memory of. I remember being at the Edinburgh Festival in, 2016?
2016, 17. Yeah.
Should be more specific, but it was a while back, a lot's gone on. But I remember getting a text in like capital letters from a friend being like, you need to go to Dance Space, you need to watch this work, Oona Doherty. And I still can't quite articulate what it was I kind of experienced or saw, but I remember kind of my overwhelming kind of instinct was that this is someone that's totally not playing by like the normal theatrical rules. Like you start in a car boot outside the theatre, the audience follows you in, and then, this incredible performance that combines, really visceral movement with language and these images of I guess men, of people, of characters that feel there's this kind of they say it's very Belfast. What did you set out to do with that work? Like, why did you want to make it? What did you have to say?
I do think, even though a lot of what the work's about, I don't think I was fully conscious of what we were doing at the time. Yeah. But that point that you made, that you can see Belfast, young lads in it, but you can also see other people from other places, was a definite point from the beginning. I think because I was making it in collaboration with Neil Brown. It was a solo for Neil. And Neil is from Glasgow and I'm from Belfast, so it started with reminiscing about when we were in school, the type of haircuts. People had a shaved head with only a fringe. Yeah. Which maybe has come back now.
That's quite a mod thing, isn't it?
Maybe a bit of a mod thing. And they had that in Belfast, just a fringe and a shaved head and a coin ring. Yeah. And the coin ring would hang out of the Monster Munch packet. Nice. We had strong memories, images, because you want to show the jewellery while you're eating your crisps. And there was a way of walking. And there was a way of standing with your hands in your trousers. It was swag, I guess, but it was a very dated swag of a memory that we had about Belfast and Glasgow, of that kind of the north up there, that me and Neil were chatting about and exploring, and also deconstructing ballet phrases and playing with stuff. And that's where the language came in, because we talk in English, we talk in Italian, we talk in German in it, because we were trying to see that my memory that I had of Belfast, his of Glasgow, was the same in Poland.
Yeah.
Or Germany, or somewhere else around Europe. It was probably more to do with the spunky energy of a 16, 17-year-old within a certain frame, with certain difficulties in their life that they have to face up and get on with and be a man and get on with it. Like, there's a lot to be nervous about and there's a lot to be fragile about, so there's a lot of reason why you'd be like little things we were doing that, you know, when you see people in the cafe and they're doing that, the wee lads were always doing that.
Restless leg.
Like, their nerves were going. And they had like a peacocky nervous thing. And then we were connecting that to like sports drinks and the chain and the memory and the tracksuit and the type of crisps and it was just all connected, as if you were making a visual art collage. And then you put that in your head when we were dancing it. So I think that's where we were coming from. Yeah. And then Neil got a job with Wayne McGregor, so I did it, so it became about gender.
Of course. And I mean, it's such a powerful work. I think that the theatre part is only, 25 minutes long?
Yep. Yeah.
But you feel like, and often you watch a thing, and as a programmer, you watch, sometimes you're like, oh, it's only this long, like, will this work? It completely works. You've gotten a full show. You've gotten the full hit in that really intense, powerful moment that's created there. And I think that's not something that a lot of people can actually do.
And it's like exhausting for the performer. So Neil did it, I did it, Mufasa has done it, Satie has done it, it's still going.
It's hard, you dance hard in that.
And it's like, it pushes you to the limit. So I think, even if it's shorter, but if you're seeing someone at their very edge, the same as when Iggy Pop was at this very edge, you're not thinking how long is it?
No, it's about the feeling. Yeah. There's something, I like that editing, that sense of, I guess, economicness in the work. Like people, you're not afraid for things not to be baggy.
Yes.
Big fan of that. So let's move on to, I guess, a piece which feels like a sequel. The sequel, it is Hard to Be Soft, which has the Lazarus part of Hope Hunt in it. It has it's kind of this beautiful trilogy, this work. So then there's a duet, The Meek Kaleidoscope, great title. Two big burly men, kind of sumo style, like mashing themselves together in like a very emotional, tender, but quite intense way. And then there's a sugar army, which are it's a small girl gang
it's a small girl gang
in Chelsea, in their shell suits. In my head, they're rude girls. I wanted to say, but like I can recognise it.
Okay.
Talk to us a bit about that work, because it feels like it's still this kind of like, there's Belfast imagery in it, but it's growing out. You're expanding in scale as well.
I don't know. When Hard to Be Soft came from Lazarus. Yeah. So I was doing the Hope Hunt, and then your man, he's not with us now, who used to run Airwaves, John, saw it, and he was like, you need to make it longer. Add a bit on the end. Yeah. And I went, okay. And so I went to try and add a bit on the end and invented Lazarus, which I guess is actually what I'm trying to say in the Hope Hunt. But because I'd already gone through the process of making the Hope Hunt, I was able to distill it from 20 minutes into 8 minutes clarity. And we stuck it on the end. But then by going through that clarity of the Lazarus with the holy music and him, the hunter, or whoever he is inside it, then that gave me... And because it was the first time I did Lazarus, it was all in a white tracksuit in a white gallery. So that's where Hard to Be Soft came from, and I was watching 2001 Space Odyssey, but also Belfast. Like if Belfast was like, also it's a reference now, but not at the time. Wayne McGregor's dance studio, the White Egg, but Belfast people in the White Egg of a Wayne McGregor light and design thing, trying to make it sci-fi. And that was the sequel.
Lovely. And the Sugar Army, like you make that everywhere you go. So everywhere that work tours to, you'll work with local girls to kind of create this beautiful work. And can you talk to us a bit about that process of what the Sugar Army represents and what you're doing with it, what you're trying to do?
Yeah. So with the Sugar Army, they're usually we've had like age 9 to very early 20s is kind of the cutoff point. We're trying to get younger the better. And I come in with a lot of films and photos of kind of like feminist documentaries I show them, or documentaries about how women are represented in the media.
Yeah.
And show them that, ask them what they think about that. TikTok, Instagram, lip filler, Botox, brow lift, weave, hair, fake tan, skin bleaching. We'd start to talk about beauty and all of the things in different places of what women are doing. And what do they think about that, and how unnatural or how good do they think it is? And we just start to talk about that conversation, about what's beautiful. And then I show them the New Zealand All Blacks haka, which I think is one of the most beautiful dances, I'm going to call it a dance, that has ever existed. And also videos that I found on YouTube of hakas at weddings, hakas at family ceremonies, sincere, beautiful, this type of, it's not performance, but the sincerity that they give to each other, and the bravery to show their beauty and their grotesqueness as an offering, as a gift of love. And then I say to them, like, what if we put the two things together? And then we do like a little like dancey routine, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let them do that for a bit till they feel comfortable. And then try to put inside that routine, when are we going to do Instagram? And how we're going to be brave enough to do that. And I guess my hope is that if they get to the point where they're okay to do that on stage because they're representing an idea of mine or something, it will go into their nervous system too, and they'll also become more free to not close themselves and hold their face a particular way to try and be seen a particular way. Let it all hang out and be loved for that version is the attempt.
Okay. Beautiful.
And each place you go is like the German kids compared to the Edinburgh kids.
Yeah.
Like that's a whole thing in itself. Meeting the German kids just wanted to sit down and talk about politics.
Ooh.
Didn't know their left arm from their right arm, but they were able to do the chat. And the Edinburgh kids, they would say yes to everything, but you could see that it kind of went over, but they could do triple backflips.
Right.
It's just where they... I mean, and that's not even maybe about the nation or the country you're in. It's just every kid, you could get 100 9-year-olds and they're all at totally different places.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about your process of movement making. How do you generate movement? Has that developed as you started to grow in scale? Do you have a regular formula that you like return to kind of when you've got that early embryo of an idea, like how does that start to come to life?
I think I always just start from dancing to I think I get obsessed with one track,
right?
Whatever the track may be. Hard to Be Soft, I was kind of doing this somatic dance into holy music, and then going into mime. And then Lady Magma, I was listening to Funkadelic and trying to like squeeze and release my perineum and be raging and crying at the same time.
Yeah.
And then Navy Blue, I was trying to practice ballet to Rachmaninoff. So there's just always a track that is like getting you going at the time. Specky Clark's Lankum. I think I get one album or one track or one music artist that gets me going.
Yeah.
And then I end up maybe not even working that into the show at the end, but that's where the seed of the movement material has come from. Yeah. The way that music makes me feel.
And so obviously, you'll start with the music, you'll move. When will you, like in your process, when will you start to bring other people in?
Yeah.
Is there a moment where you're like, right, okay, I need to set now and start to like make the show where you make lots of material and then edit out? Are you quite, how do you make the cake? Yeah,
I think on varying degrees depending on the show, sometimes I make step by step. Yeah. But not all, I would never make every arm movement for the full hour, but depending on the show, I've made chunks of like set material that I just teach. Or I have very dense way of explaining a particular improv that I want you to do, so you think that would result in one way of looking. Do you know what I mean? And I, in my head, have the beginning, middle, end done.
Right. So you can see it.
Yes. Yeah, and then things change when I'm in the room with people, but I have it all planned, and I always have it all planned before I get the dancers in, because I'd always be afraid. Like, it's a massive thing to audition and bring professional dancers into a room with it. You'd need to be on your game. These people have probably danced more than me. Like, so I would be nervous, so that's why I make a whole show in my head, even if I don't end up doing it, to be prepped. Because I would have a fear if they would ask me a question and I would say, I don't know.
Right.
Because my job is to deliver you a world, and then we see where we go.
Yeah.
So far, I kind of do as much as I can before anyone's in the room.
Okay.
And then things change, because then I tell them to do it, they do it, and then they do something different, and it's way better than the original idea, and I'm like, can we do this version?
Yeah. But that's the process, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just have to make sure that you're right, that it's made with everybody.
Absolutely.
Because not everyone does that.
Yeah, okay, yes, collaboration is key. Let's keep on moving down the line. So first two works, intensely, well, it's always, those labels always intensely Irish, or this like Belfast identity is like
had
very...
a twang about it, yeah.
Twang,
Yeah.
in a beautiful twang.
Yeah.
Then you move into Lady Magma world, right? Yeah. Where it's 5 dancers, all female on stage together. And, you know, the identity, I mean, your identity's on stage, regardless of whatever you're doing, those labels are there. But I'm curious about, especially with Lady Magma into Navy Blue, there's a departure from these kind of familiar imagery. And like, talk to me a bit about, the Lady Magma of it all.
Okay,
Let's go there.
Yeah,
great title
there's
again.
So many layers.
Really good titles.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about with Lady Magma, so I need to think what we're going to say. First thing I'll say about Lady Magma is maybe the beginning seed of it came from an unnatural place in me, rather than just I've had an idea for a show. I think it came from, in hindsight I can say this, I think it came from a place where at that point then people had written a review about me or a show, or, you know, I'd never had that all before, you know? And so at that time I would read them. I don't do that anymore. So I was reading about Northern Irish artists, working class artists, masculinity, and maybe I was a bit like, I better do something else. Or I felt guilty to my ma and to my female bloodline. They'd be like, why do I keep making shows about all the men in my family?
Yeah, okay, so you went hyper-femme?
So I hyper went into the women's side, which also, in my mind, Lady Magma is the child of the Sugar Army, because I think it came from being with the Sugar Armies. Yeah. I've been like, why am I not hanging out and making shows about women? But I don't know if I achieved it. I think Lady Magma can still live, but not as a show. There's something wrong about framing it and selling it as a show. Me and the dancers decide later down the line that it just, something there didn't work. There was another mistake in Lady Magma, which was a great thing for me to go through and learn. I was looking at Wild Wild Country.
Yes.
This documentary.
Yes.
So Lady Magma was coming from Wild Wild Country and cults and all those cult documentaries that were coming out, and the first maybe 10, 20 minutes of the documentaries, you're always like, that sounds like a great idea. And then a fella gets weird about it and it goes wrong. So I was like, what if we did a cult that was like all the women together and it didn't go wrong? And that's why I was trying to do this Lady Magma cult. But because I was taking those references, and then I was listening to Funkadelic, and I was trying to find groove, and I was trying to be sexy, and what is sexy, and what is painful, and we were doing that with the women, that type of movement. And then I invited my friends to be in the show, because you never know if a show's gonna... My excuse was I never knew if I was gonna get the money to do a show. I think I was practicing nepotism.
Right.
I didn't know at the time, because I was like, I'll just ask my friends and then maybe I'll get the funding for it and we'll do it, or rather than already being like, let's see, out, and people who show up to an audition and stuff. So I did that, and they were beautiful, and they worked so hard, and I learned so much from them, and they learned from me, and we were this beautiful thing. It happened in 2020. We went away from lockdown. We all became pregnant. We brought it back while we were all mothers, so there was a really good reason to do that, okay? But what happened at the premiere was me and my 5 friends, white skinny dances, dancing to variations of funkadelic about coats. We repeated the 70s kind of, that whole thing that, you know, this, what's the word? I don't have it for, where the white hippie people were ignoring the civil rights stuff. And I feel like
that was going on.
That was going on.
Yeah, yeah.
I was a bit blind to what I was doing.
Yeah.
So for me personally, there are real good things I learned in Lady Magma, and there are real big learning curves and failures that I did in that show.
It's important to have failures.
Yeah.
And to learn.
Yeah.
And that's part of the journey, and not to be afraid of them. Go straight through them, keep going. But yeah, you learnt from it.
You know, because you were saying also about Hard to Be Soft and Hope Hunt and being from Belfast and the way they write about the show. But then in Lady Magma, nobody wrote that, but in Lady Magma, I could see another version of me that I had never seen of my whiteness, my middle classness, my naivety was shown to me in that work, even though I was trying to do something else.
Okay, interesting. And then you went on to make Navy Blue, which is...
And then I was raging.
You were raging. It felt quite like a political work, 12 dancers on stage, collaborating with Jamie XX. It felt like a much darker work in ways. But again, there was this kind of this searching for like hope in the darkness of it all. Like this real kind of, it felt like a work that had real purpose to it. You were really asking questions as to like, why am I doing this? Speaking to that level of the resource, even like resource it takes to make a large scale piece of dance.
Yeah, that was scary. It was scary to be there.
Yeah.
Which I am, where I am now.
You're
and all,
now.
Which is great, and I'm learning to be super grateful and embrace it and use it for the right thing and make it worth it. But when you first do that, then you go, oh, and maybe Navy Blue is me doing that a little bit. Also, becoming pregnant and a lockdown and watching the news, and then that next step in the career all happening at the same time. So the only honest thing I could do is be lost in the work. Yeah. The work is about being a bit lost. In a good way. The way we're all lost. I mean that. You know, like, I shouldn't swear, but like the world is a bit fucked. Yeah. You know, and let's just...
It is. And
and let's not make the theatre that we hide away and protect. That's the TV. We've got the TV for that. We can switch the TV on, chill out, relax, but maybe not the theatre.
Yeah, let's try and be honest here.
Let's just think about it. Yeah. I mean, but also now, then I'm also learning: is there a way to do that with comedy and not be a Debbie Downer? then it would hit better. We'll see.
Balance. Yeah. Okay. So we're still on a journey. We're on a journey. Beautiful. In terms of, talk to me about collaborators. Do you, are there specific people that you bring in? Are you always kind of looking for new people to kind of collaborate and look to? Like, there's a very, I'm curious about, what your approach is to collaboration. Yeah,
so at this very moment, I'm trying to open up and I'm bringing in new people. I have a little mini core team, Luca Trifrelli, film and photos and music, actually. John Gunning on lights. And Lisa on stage management is like my little there that I get, even, for the art, yes, for making the art, but also just because you've worked together, so sometimes you just need to look over and see your mate in the room to be like, okay, I can keep going. Yeah. So you're not completely on your own. And then music, I'm always changing. Dancers, at the moment, I'm always changing. I mean, the dream would be one day to have your dancers and a room, and that you don't need to change that would be also great. And trying to bring in more, I guess also crew. I'm trying to get more crew in, but if you have a core crew, you can do anything.
A decent core crew, a decent production manager.
You can change dances, music, whatever, but your tech crew, if you ever
worth their weight in gold, absolutely.
This is the point.
Okay, interesting. Talk to us a bit. So now we're here today because you're working with NYDC on you're choreographing a new work on them, Wall. How did you approach choreographing a new work with this company of dance artists who are at the very beginning of their careers. Like, talk to us about that process.
Yeah, so when NYDC rang me, I was a bit shocked, which is so mad because we start with like 1986 in North London. But I guess at the moment I had been feeling very Irish. So when they rang me, I guess it just brought up weird feelings in me to be like, oh, look what you have over there. We don't have a national youth dance company. Yeah. We don't have any universities for dancing. And I got my back up a little bit. Yeah. Which then I was like, don't be negative. That's interesting. Tell the kids that, I guess. Because also I'm in the middle of like loads of other shows, and to try and generate a brand new idea, this is what came to me first. So I was like, okay, let's go here then. Mm-hmm. And then it made me think about 1986, North London, then the peace process, being in Belfast for that, then coming back to the place, then going, my identity shifting. My understanding of what my nationality is shifting over the course of 38 years, my class shifting, my understanding of what my parents' class was or is shifting. So I brought that to them, and I just told them all my biz, what's going on with me, about nationality, identity, class, politics, and what do you think's great about Great Britain, and what's it like to be British? Yeah. And we just talked about that and interviewed them and recorded the audio of them doing that, used that to make movement, and then sent them home to be like, ask your granny the same question, or your mummy the same question, or your daddy. Yeah. And then some of the mums and dads are in it too.
Okay, nice. And working with this company of young artists, and you might not be able, you're still very much in it and it's touring, but how has that fed your practice? How does that make you feel as an artist who is now further along the line? Yeah. Has that echoed for you in any way?
NYDC is one of the best things I've ever done. Like, really. I've learned so much from them, and from the way that the company is structured, and the support workers that they have, and the team that they have around the cast, which is a big difference. Because in a professional company, there's nobody there. And sometimes the artistic director is an asshole, and you're out in the middle of nowhere. And that has been I've been very lucky with my artistic directors that I haven't had that so much, but that is still so deeply ingrained. Yeah. Of like, find your flight and warm up and get it done. And it's maybe not really useful. It's not the best. I've learned a lot how they look after the company. Yeah. And I think as a professional company, you should be attempting to do that. Care. People there to care about the cast, doesn't matter what the show is. That should be happening all the time.
What advice would you have for young choreographers coming up now?
You just have to be like, no backups, no other, just, you have to lock in and do it. Which, if it's your thing, you will do anyway. You will be doing that anyway. You'll be wanting to do it every morning. It has to be that. Because there's too many obstacles and too many things to get around, and financially to exist in this place and everything. Like, there's too many. Like in any career, if you want to go far, it just has to be that one thing, so just lock in. I don't know if that's a clear message, but that's all I can think to say is the thing that got me through, is that I just made a decision when I was like 11, and I just was like,
I'm still holding on.
Yeah. Really, not like I'll go and do music or I'll go and do that, or it was really like, no way, nothing else. And then you can get there.
Okay, we're going future now, okay? So your next work is another large scale, it will be coming here next year, Specky Clark. Yeah. And you're back, this feels like a very sort of almost like slightly autobiographical element to it, very Irish piece of work. Talk to us a little bit about these elements that you're putting together. You've got,
I've definitely gone like that, I've gone back. Because before sometimes, Navy Blue as well. Since Navy Blue, I've always really believed it's my last one.
Your last one? This is your last one?
Navy Blue, I was like, this is my last one because I'm a mum.
Right.
Of course it's my last one. And now I'm making another one. But in my head, I'm like, of course it's the last one. She's getting older. But I don't know, maybe I'll just be in that place for ages.
That's
now
really
where I'm like,
interesting
it's
that
my last one.
You're telling yourself that as you're making...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting me through it too a little bit.
Okay.
It's, it's the last one, do it, Make a mistake, make a really loud mistake on the way out. Come on, it's giving me bravery to do it.
Yeah.
Because I'm really trying to do something different. I'm trying to write a play. I've tried to write dialogue. I'm trying to direct dialogue between people, So it could be a disaster, or it could be brilliant.
Yeah.
But I've just, after Navy Blue, after that whole speech about what's the point and what are we doing, I had to just, a little bit like, fuck it. I had to just really try and be like, I'm going to go so far different from myself and risk it.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And you're working with musicians.
Lankham.
So how did that come about too?
I think I just rang them and asked them.
Nice.
Ireland's small. So
Okay.
I could ring them and ask them.
Beautiful. Make it work.
Lankham and David Holmes.
Yes.
I could ring them both and ask them.
No big deal. We just made it happen.
It's amazing.
Okay, well, I'm excited. So in terms of I know you think this might be your last one. I'm pretty sure it won't be. But in terms of the future for you, where would you like to go with your art? What would you like? Are there any things that you'd like to try that you haven't tried yet? Are there any adventures or risks, whatever, that you want to take? Like, do you have a sense of that?
There's loads of things. I mean, the Hope Hunt, the first show was made for youth detention centres, prisons, alternative venues, which I'm still working at. I mean, we've done some, but it's also the bread and butter, and it's doing dance festivals, and we get paid, and it keeps going. But maybe in the future, I would still like to do that.
Yeah.
And explore that world a little bit. I mean, Hard to Be Soft, I would love one day to just build Hard to Be Soft in the middle of Turf Lodge, which is the estate in Belfast where some of those characters within the movement are inspired by. And I always wanted to just like put football floodlights on and just do it in the street and bring everybody, give them free booze and be like, we'd do it in the middle of it, like Caslucci, like,
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess there's loads of things I'd love to keep trying, and maybe to have a key to somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's like a shop that you rent a shop with another artist or something, you put a dance floor down, it's only big enough for a solo, but you just both have a key and you can go whenever you need to have a space.
A room of one's own.
Yeah, would be amazing, you know?
I think that will happen. I'm pretty sure. Oona, thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. It's really lovely to talk to you. I wish you all the best for the future, and I can't wait to keep seeing what you're doing. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone.